Hey, what's up guys? I'm Rick at Techspin, and I've been putting this video off for a little while now because I've been very busy with my schedule and also doing reviews for other manufacturers and stuff. So today we're going to do the review for this build, and I had to hold off for a little while for the graphics card setup, which we'll get onto in a little bit. So let's get on with it. So I'm happy to finally present the finished build, which looks like this. The planning for this build actually started in December of 2016. I wanted to build a new rig based actually on the older Core i7-6850K on the LGA 2011-3 socket. It had 6 cores and seemed with the CPU video rendering benchmarks to be the slightly faster of the two platforms. But I also didn't want to settle for what seemed to be the slightly inferior CPU and the chipset combination. But I'm really glad that I waited and I got the newer one. I took a chance on the Kaby Lake i7-7700K on the LGA 1151 socket, and I'm really glad that I did. Not only was the CPU less expensive by like 200 bucks, and the motherboards were also cheaper by 200 bucks on average, but the important thing turned out to be the video gaming benchmarks, especially on like Witcher 3, one of the hardest games to get good frame rates on. That and the newer LGA 1151 boards have really nice I/O shrouds adding to the overall design. You can see it here, like right there. It looks great, right? So after deciding to go with the Kaby Lake platform, I had narrowed my choices down to the MSI Z270 XPower Gaming Titanium, which is here, or the ASRock Z270 Taichi. But with that board's black and white look, I thought going for a full silver finish with the MSI board would be a unique build, and I think it worked out pretty well. Now, ordering things in Taiwan is actually harder than you might think, as half of it may be manufactured here, but a lot of it is shipped directly abroad with no supply available here. Amazon America to the rescue. So I was one of the very first in Taiwan to get a Samsung 960 EVO 500 gig M2 NVMe, and I showed my buddy at the Cool PC, which is the store inside the night market there for computers. They're one of the biggest vendors in the computer market in Taipei, and he had to take a photo, so it was pretty fun. I also had to order in my AIO water cooling solution, the GamerStorm Captain 240EX, which is one of the few solutions available in white. I saw them last month, so they finally did arrive here. And there was no way I could find some really cool RAM locally, so I also ordered from Amazon the 2 kits of white Corsair Vengeance 32 gig DDR4 3200, 2 sticks of 16 gigs each for a total of 64 gigs of memory. I'm glad I purchased it when I did because they've doubled in price now. In my previous titanium video, I had a stick of 8 gig Kingston HyperX Fury black installed, just temporary until the Corsair arrived. So I had read online that a lot of people were having trouble getting the DDR4 3200 RAM to work on the Z270 boards, but I decided to give it a shot anyways, and I wasn't getting off easy. So when the RAM arrived, I took out all the current RAM and populated all 4 slots with the Vengeance kits. It's gonna work, right? No. Turning on the PC and it refused to post, like just black screen. Great, nice. So installing the RAM was a bit difficult. First I flashed the BIOS to, at the time, the newest version, like it was like 1.1. And because I knew the Kingston worked, I put one of the sticks of memory in there just to start. That was the key. After that I tried all 4 and no, that didn't work. So back to 1 stick. It worked, okay. Hey, the manual says there's a specific order to the RAM slots. Hey, okay. So from the CPU going outwards, we'll call them 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? With 1 stick, the manual says slot 2 is the best one. And for 2 sticks, which is my next step, I put them in slots 2 and 4 as per the manual, and it worked. So I thought I was all good and enabled the XMP profile to put the memory up to its max of 3200 and slapped in the RAM in the other 2 slots and failed again. So back to 1, disabled XMP, reboot. It worked, so I installed the second, that worked. Then I put 3 and 4, and finally it worked. I let it load up to the desktop, and just in case there were any associated drivers that need to be loaded in Windows, you know. Anyway, I was finally able to enable XMP to get it working, although during setup and the resets installing Windows 10 Pro and video cards, it did fail a few times and defaulted back to regular non-XMP values, which I had to correct. But luckily I didn't have to take out any more RAM, so that's good. I'm not sure if it makes a difference or not, but just manufacturer marketing maybe, but I kept one kit to each channel just in case it made a difference. You know, they ship in like kits of 2 sticks and 2 sticks, so yeah. I also played with the BIOS a fair amount, so there may be extra things that you need to tweak or enable or steps you need to do in order to get your super fast memory to run at its full XMP speed. Yeah. What else? I grabbed Silverstone custom sleeved cabling for both my Red Horse and the King Tut build. I later found out that I could actually get this one in Taiwan and for cheaper, but at the time. Yeah, so most PC vendors here have very limited to no options for modding or custom PC parts. It seems to be mostly just mainstream supply. Cable combs were ordered from moddiy.com, and they were delivered exactly to order and quickly too. Thanks, guys. I've ordered now from them twice and I've been very happy with their accuracy and speed of service. Finally comes the most important aspect, the graphics setup. It was really difficult, but actually I decided to wait until the 1080 and 1080 Ti came out with the benchmarks. Sorry NVIDIA, Texas Instruments came first, and the wrapper, you know, solidified the pronunciation. So I'm going to say Ti, not Ti, okay. Well, usually the rule of thumb is 2 of the upper mid-tier NVIDIA cards in SLI will match or sometimes beat the newest flagship. So I waited until I found a decent sale on eBay and purchased 2 GTX970s that came with a red SLI bridge for about 280 bucks, including shipping. What a steal. I came with this one right here. That was pretty cool. Now, I don't have 8 gigs of memory from the GTX 1080 or the 11 gigs from the 1080 Ti, but since they cost $630 and $860 respectively, I do have a lot of extra cash in my pocket considering I spent less than half the price of a new card. I can say with the 4 gigs that the MSI GTX N970 gaming comes with, it's certainly enough to handle anything on the market right now. Yes, I know it's 3.5 gigs, I know. As a matter of fact, I still do recommend this option, as GTX 970s are everywhere. You just have to have a flexible bridge or count the spacing properly for your setup. And this is the bridge I'll be showing you in a second. Now, before ordering what I consider to be the showpiece for the case, I did a lot of research and found whatever measurements I could on using an HB SLI large bridge with the GTX 9 series cards. Now, the HB bridge is designed for 10 series cards only, so I knew it was a risk, but finally gave it a go and ordered this awesome MSI HB bridge, a large bridge. The older 9 series cards for some reason generally have shrouds blocking the inner SLI connector. And since the HB bridge uses both, well, normally it would be just impossible to fit the bridge on, as one of the shrouds would block it. But I was pretty lucky as I measured the clearance and it appeared I could just Dremel out just enough to fit the shroud and not cut into the fan ring. So I ended up removing the shrouds and fans carefully from these cards and spent a few hours measuring, fitting, and then finally dremeling out the piece from the top card shroud right here, right up there. I was very fortunate that the amount I had to cut stopped at exactly the fan ring. After I got them to finally fit, I washed and dried the shrouds and got to painting both shrouds white. So the red came through kind of strongly and took the most paint to cover, 6 to 7 coats. My mistake was trying to finish the project a little too quickly, and because I couldn't find anything suitable nearby, I actually skipped getting any primer. Pro tip, you should use a good white primer if you're going to be going with light colors, as using primer will also make the final color shine through better. You also may be able to use like silver or possibly light gray too. You should test it out on some newspaper, as it should turn out almost exactly like the final result too. So there's an easy test for you. It looks great from a distance, but up close I think the black area looks just a bit flat, and there's a noticeable slight tinge to the white where I painted over the red part. Maybe you can't see it, but it's there and it bugs me. Ugh. Anyways, I should have used primer to match the base color, but it turned out kind of uniformly, I guess. Live and learn, yeah? So this is the finished product. I'm really happy with it. Just wish it could have had the fans in on the bottom like I showed in the previous Tutankhamun video. But unfortunately, without deriveting or further modding the case, this is then the result. I actually checked similar size cases, and if you have a 1 and 4 SLI configuration, as a lot of boards do, most bottom graphics cards will barely fit in the bottom, let alone have any space for fans down there. So another note is that the bottom card now blocks the onboard temperature display, which is on over here. And also all the handy power and reset buttons that the MSI Z270 titanium comes with, which are down here. Oh well. On that note, if you choose to do SLI, you really need to test it out with a flexible bridge first before you commit to buying a hard bridge. You'll save yourself a lot of time and effort. Just hook it up and go into the NVIDIA control panel, and if the setup is correct, you'll have an option to enable SLI. I almost ordered the wrong size and was very fortunate that I tested it out and found I needed the longest cable available. You can test to see if it's working by enabling the setting in the control panel, which will show you this bar graphic on the left side of the screen, metering the SLI efficiency. So, what are your thoughts on this build? Something I should have done differently with the setup? Is there a graphics card that you really want to see in here? I'm looking forward to all your feedback down below. And if you've got a sweet rig, don't forget to hit me up on Twitter, and I may put your rig on the channel, like show it up or something. Other things I want to point out. This one, I actually printed out some custom graphics here. Take this out of the plastic quick. I'm not supposed to technically print company logos, but I did print MSI because I bought 2 of their cards. Well, secondhand, but still bought them. And still displaying them, right? And I got some dragons printed and some Techspin logos that I've installed. Techspin logos right down here on the bottom, ta-da! And if we take this one off, you can probably see a little better. I'll do this carefully so I don't drop the glass. That would really suck on camera, right? Jinx. Hold that glass on nicely. There we go. Okay. Very carefully. Ooh, there we go. Okay, good. All right, so. The Techspin logo actually just cut just around the sticker just to kind of blend it in, and you can barely see it even when up close, which is nice. Let's see, what else did I do? The MSI logo I put on top of this plexiglass, white plexi here, and also the dragon. And this is kind of a cheat, but it was the simplest and easiest way I found. I found some little rubber feet, like square or even circular. Square is easier because you can cut them into squares, right? And I used double-sided tape, just very, very thin double-sided tape. And believe it or not, this plexi is just resting right on top. If I just take this out very carefully here, yeah, there we go. It's just resting right on top of these little rubber feet. And on the back, I've actually put the double-sided tape onto the squares first to line it up and put it on carefully. And then this one just sits on top, and between the rubber and the tape holding it on, it sits on pretty well. So it's important that you're gonna have to probably, if you want to do plexi like this one, you're probably gonna have to measure and cut like multiple times. So take your time, do it right, because getting plexi can or cannot be very easy depending on where your source is. And yeah, gotta put this back in. This is really hard to do from behind the case. All right, well, that's about good there. Don't press too hard. And what else do I want to say? Oh yeah, so the SLI bridge looks like that, because the normal SLI bridge would be the 9 series thin ones. Yeah, open this. So it would look like this. Also, the other thing is this bridge would be too short for my setup anyways, because the newer titanium boards like this one here has a 1-4 setup. So this is only 1, 2, 3. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 1 and 4 down here, so it's not long enough for this. About the cable cones that I mentioned before, so I have them in here. And Corsair RAMs up here. This isn't any LED RAM. I just wanted a very clean look. I use a different kind of cable combs, also from Mod DIY. I use the white ones, which are on this side here. And I have the routing, of course, for the Captain 240EX, and goes into here. I was using a push-pull 3 fans in the front, pulling the air through, and 2 exhaust in the back. And that's about it for this side. If I turn this around carefully, I'm gonna unplug this. Turn it off carefully. This is actually my working system and video editing system. So later on, when this video is finished, this is what I'll be using to put this on YouTube. And this thing is a little heavy. Yeah, I tried to do cable management as best I could. Trust me, there's a lot of extra cabling in here from the Silverstone extensions. Believe it or not, this is as organized as I could get this. I know that there's some, you know, organizational wiring freaks out there who's gonna be like, yeah, you did a crappy job, but this is all hidden by the tinted panel anyways, and there's a mess of cables here, and I've really tried to tie it down, and I've got things in here and extra drives I had to put in afterwards. It's a video editing rig, right? So, you know, sometimes you have to change your drive or wire in new stuff. The one cool thing I wanted to show you quickly is, there we go. I have a switch on the back here. I have two of them actually, but I was gonna design it to handle maybe a different kind of fan setup or whatever, but if you switch one of the fans, I can turn off the whole interior lighting, leaving the AIO still running, and also I think that's about it, just the AIO is running at this point. Yeah, just the AIO. The reason I did that is actually because when I do voiceover work in my room, having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional fans running at, you know, increases the volume of the noise in the room, and you can kind of hear it on the mic. So I usually just have if I have a script up or whatever, I just turn this off for a little bit and then do my recording, and then as soon as I'm finished, turn it back on. Even with the panels on and just these two going, it doesn't get that hot. You know, it hits up maybe like 55, 57 degrees, but not more than 60. So even with that, it's pretty good. So yeah. And there is one last thing I wanted to show you. It's that, why is this still in the bag? There we go. All right. There is one last thing I wanted to show you, is that I got the remote for the Mandala RGB that I did a previous video for. Almost dropped that. And with this remote, it has a little sensor. I've kind of buried right down there. I try to put it in a little hidden location, but the cool thing is I can change the color, so that's not too bad. As I mentioned in the Osiris video, the Osiris uses the same fans, but the head unit doesn't have a IR sensor, so yeah, this only works with this one. But it's pretty cool, and it has breathing effects too. You can put on green or blue or something, so yeah, it's, for me, my personal favorite has got to be aqua. I really like this color, and it really shines well, especially off the plexi and stuff. I'll turn this off. I'll turn this off and unplug it, and very carefully wait for the power to go off. Yes, okay. Remove the bridge here. And just a demonstration, I'll do a close-up later here, but just a demonstration of the normal SLI bridge and the dual SLI bridge. And yeah, so I really had to cut the shroud on this side. You can see the shroud is normally going to end right here, but if you go up a little bit, it should stick out another little bit. So I had to Dremel out all this corner bit. Not a lot of work, but just had to be very careful. Unscrewed everything, taped it off, which is a good point to prevent splintering and that kind of stuff. And removed the MSI logo and tried to save as much as I could. I wanted it to be lit as much as it could. But the main part is this: I really love this bridge. Yes, I had to order in from America, and I can't remember, it was like 40 bucks or something. With shipping it was like 50, but totally worth it. The top area is aluminum. It's actually cut aluminum, and yeah, there's a hole behind the Dragon with white LED lighting and stuff. So I mean, I was really happy to get this, and it's just beautiful. It accents the titanium board nicely. I have no idea why they won't sell this in Taiwan. They're just like, oh, there's no call for it here. Okay, but there's a lot of people wanting to mod their computers here. So I hope that MSI will start, you know, providing at least a little bit of stock, you know, for modders here, because I mean, once the movement catches on, it's going worldwide, and they even have mod shows here. So if you go to Computex and get inspired by seeing these awesome computers, maybe not this one, but other people's awesome computers, all right, then you want to go and try and buy stuff that you can put in your computer. And why not have this available? It's a little ridiculous, especially I can walk to MSI from here. So that's kind of blows your mind, right? Anyway. All right, so that's it for this this review, I guess. Hit that thumbs up button if you thought it was great, or a thumbs down if you thought it sucked. If you want to see more videos like this, then please do subscribe for new content, and click that bell icon to get notified when I put up a new video. I always do read the comments, and I do my best to answer them, so if you have a question or if I did miss something, then please tell me down below. And let me know what you'd like to see next. Thank you all very much for watching. See you all again very soon. Bye for now. If you want to see more videos like this, then please do subscribe for new content. I'm standing in the wrong spot. There you go. There you go, Cubby.